afternoon, and good evening for whatever time you are watching this video. Welcome back to my channel. I wanted to jump right in and do a video talking about how I was able to pay off $6,000 in credit card debt with my human services social worker case manager salary. Yeah, I think, everybody is aware that case management is not a field where you're making a lot of money unless you move up, get certified, have a master's degree, that type of thing. So I wanted to do this video because it's important for people to know that you can save money on this kind of salary. So back in 2018, when I started considering to start to really focus on my finances, I was making around 36,000 just with my salary, and then possibly up to like 41,000 with my overtime. So that wasn't all the time that I was doing overtime, but it pretty much was with the nature of the job and just always having responsibilities, on call tasks and things like that. First thing that I did was I chose my plan. I had heard about Dave Ramsey I think a couple of years before I even started on my journey. So 2018 was when I really considered doing that. And so at first I did baby step number 1, and that took me, let's see, around late 2018 to August of 2019. That's how long it took me to save my $1,000. So a little hot minute, but we did get it done. And I'm going to say right away, his method, so baby step number 2, his method is to do the snowball effect. So you pay off the smallest debt and then use that money to pay off the next smallest, and on and on. So at the time I was paying my cell phone off, and so I went ahead and knocked that out, and then I used the money to pay off my credit card debt. And then once I was done with my credit card, I think I was able to pay off my car maybe like a month or 2 before the contract was over. So not a lot of time, but I was definitely able to use the snowball method to help me get rid of debt. So I just want to go over some of the things that I did that was practical and helpful. Okay, so I think the 2 biggest things that were helpful for me was, 1, doing cash envelopes. So I think I did live pretty close to my bank at the time, so it was very convenient for me to go, but it was still kind of a struggle because every 2 weeks I had to go in. Well, it wasn't the going in part, it was the knowing what bills that I wanted. So you have to tell them, okay, how many 5s you want, 10s, 20s. So that was always difficult for me to calculate and took a little bit of a time, but it was very helpful when I had cash instead of using my card, because I can physically see the money going out of the envelope, and then I can slow myself down. So the other thing that was helpful was doing a budget. Dave Ramsey recommends to do a zero-based budget, so knowing exactly where each cent was going. And I never did exactly to the 0 cent, but it was close enough to where I kept track of my bills. I knew exactly how to structure my when I was paying my bills, like which paycheck they needed to come out of. And that's something that I still do today. I don't use the cash envelopes. I think I do need to get back to that, but the budget, I still use that faithfully, and that's definitely something that's crucial to my finance management in these days. So definitely recommend that. So then, as I already mentioned, I did do overtime with my job, so that helps increasing my income. I think I'm going to go back and say around this time, just so you all have a financial picture of what I was working with. So I did have my own apartment. I want to say the rent was maybe around $750 to $790 with bills, like close to $800 with utilities and everything. I had my car note that was around $350 350, 360. Of course, subscriptions were in there. Oh, I was paying on my student loans. They weren't that much, but maybe around $120, something like that. So that was that's pretty much that was my financial profile at the time, just so you could get an idea. So I was working overtime. A lot of it was just the job in general and needing to do things. There's always a million things to do. Some of it was on call, so those checks were nice. I did Uber for 4 months, but then I stopped doing that just because my family was like, "You're so small, somebody could just pull you into the house," and I don't know. They got in my head a little bit about that, so I stopped doing Uber. I did a no spend January and a no spend November, so I wouldn't limit myself of activities, so I would still go out with friends, but I might not, or probably I wouldn't get anything. So I would have eaten before, or we're doing something that's probably free. So that was helpful. And then I will qualify. So the no spend November and January, it was no spend on everything. So even like hair stuff, I just like I like hair. I like doing my hair in different styles. So I didn't get anything throughout that period. It was just like basics. So like food and household supplies if I needed that. Another thing that I had to do was control my urges. So with my job, it's rewarding. It has its rewarding times, but there was a lot of times that the day just felt long and it felt hard and it felt like I need something to help me feel like, woo, like give me a treat. And so I would rely on sweets a lot, so I would go out, or I'm gonna treat myself to a meal, nothing too expensive, but I'm not gonna tell myself no if I wanted something specific. So that was my go-to. But while I was on this financial journey, I had to calm that down and really just pay attention to not utilizing that as much. Not to say I stopped doing it completely, but just not as much. And I will say that is something that I still currently do. Like, I'm still keeping track of that, because my go-to was a lot of times ice cream, and that can be very good. But you know, I was diagnosed. I was diagnosed to be pre-diabetic, so it's not something that I can rely on. Sweets are not something I can rely on. I try to, save it for once a week if it's going to be something really heavy like cheesecake or ice cream or cupcakes and things like that. Like, I'll have little small, maybe like a small, like 2 or 3 cookies every day throughout the week, but I'll save the major things for the weekend. So I still currently do that as well. So then another thing that I was focused on was like finding the cheaper option. So I like to get my nails done every 3 weeks around that time. And so I tried press on nails, and I will say they are not for me. I like the different designs and stuff that people can get, and I like the idea of being able to just do your own nails, but I don't know if it's my nails, cuticles or something, but I just did not like that they were popping off. I felt so embarrassed, and like nobody knew that the nail was in my pocket, but it was just like a radar on me when a nail was missing. Like, I would rather have a broken nail than just like this just being blank and all the other ones having nails on them. I just don't. I didn't like that. And I did give it a good try. I went with the place that I saw that had a lot of good designs, and I kept the glue with me just in case I needed to reattach, but it just was not sticking. So instead, what I did was it just extended my nails to 4 weeks. So when I would get the acrylics done, I would get them every 4 weeks instead of like once a month instead of every 3 weeks. Eventually, throughout that journey, I did move in with a roommate. So instead of paying the almost $800, it was only $600 a month plus maybe like $50 to $70 for utilities. So I was able to use that extra money for my credit card, and I did cut my credit card, so then I wasn't using it at all. And I think it helped. Well, I know it helps. It obviously it eliminated that option to even think about using the card. And so it made me rely more on my $1,000 emergency savings if I needed it, and just eliminating that possibility of spending if you don't need it, right? Like, so if I really want, like, if I I love hair. Okay. If I saw some wigs that I like, it's very convenient to go get my credit card, put that on my credit card. But if I don't have it, obviously can't do that. And then I'm not going to use my emergency savings for that. Like, I know that's emergency. So there is a, level of thinking that goes on that's involved with spending money, and having the credit card is just something that makes it a lot more convenient to just buy and buy and buy. So that was something that was very helpful. And so the last thing that I think that helped me was just brainwashing myself. And what I mean when I say that is I would listen to a lot of financial YouTubers, so that I think it helped, it stayed present as a goal of mine when I was constantly listening to that kind of informational podcast. And it's something that I don't still do really, and I think it would be helpful if I did, just so I can keep that in the forefront of my mind. Like, I have the goal, obviously, of wanting financial freedom, and it's just a matter of sticking to it and prioritizing it. But so I wanted to make this video to help out anyone who does have a lower income and give you some type of tips that you can utilize. So I'm going to still be doing some of these same things because I got a little crazy when COVID came, and yeah, I just, I dug myself back into the hole. But I do know that I can do it, and I'm going to utilize some of the same things that I did before to help me. And yeah, I will definitely yeah, I'll definitely give that update when I'm done, but I wanted to have this video out because I did do it. I paid off the $6,000 in credit card debt, and was able to pay off my car through that time. So I got a little bit of taste of the financial freedom that I'm looking for. So hopefully this video was helpful. Please let me know if you have any comments, questions, or critiques, and leave them in the comment section down below. And I'll catch you in the next video. Bye.